What's going on YouTube is PJ's Chess here, back with another video. So today I have round one of the Cleveland Open in the U2100 section. This was my only win of the tournament. I had one win and 4 draws. I make a video for each game in particular, but I have so many thoughts in their long games, so I wanted to give each of them their own spotlight. So let's get into this first one. I played, I think it's 1600. I don't have a FIDE rating. I'm 1833 UOCF right now. Trying to get in the FIDE at the end of the month, so we'll see where I'm rated there. But you can see 928% accuracy for game one. That 84.3. This was the shortest game, funnily enough, the only win. The 4 draws were all combined like around average 45 50 moves. I feel like this one I think was only like 30 moves, so it's definitely shorter than usual. But let's get straight to it. So I'll start with d4. They go d5, bishop f4, knight to c6, pawn to e3, bishop to f5. Now I'll stop here. I sped through that. This is where I took my first think. So this time control was 60 minutes and 10-second delay because it was the 2-day version. So the games 3 through 5 are 80 delay 30 with plus 30 minutes and move 40. So this one I don't have as much time, but I still need to think here. You may be wondering why. Knight c6 is actually, well, I can go back. It's not the best move. It's a third best move. And I've seen it before, but seeing it over the board, like, okay, let me just sit, think, make sure I can make the right move here. And I end up going bishop d3, which is not the best move. c4 is better. Am I mad I didn't play c4 over the board? I'm not. So if you play c4, this is not losing, okay? I guess because of queen a4 probably, I'm assuming, yeah. Because of queen a4, they can't push up. They go back, you take, and then maybe e5? Is that the order? I think that is, yeah. Okay, then it'd be e5. But that's not a line that I saw, and even if I did see it, I don't think I'd have went for it. And there's a similar tactic in this game where I kind of saw the line, and I can't wait to explain that, but I don't want to spoil it. But I go bishop d3, the third best move. It's okay. It does what it needs to do. It stops this knight from coming in to look to attack c2. They take the bishop, I take with the queen, and knight here to f6. All right, move 5. I've not played this position very often. If you've seen my videos before or my live streams, I played in London a lot, but my queen on d3 on move 5 is something different. So chess is definitely fun. Even in tournament games, I've never seen this game before, never played something quite like this, funnily enough. If I go h3, similar idea to what I would usually do. I don't want knight to h5 to be an issue. Just for an example, say I go a3 instead. Knight here to h5 is looking to... This isn't a trap of the bishop because, it's not free, but it is looking over the exchange. And there is an imbalance. I don't mind having one, but since I'm higher rated, I'd rather keep it symmetrical and hope that I can outplay. That's my thought process at least. But honestly, when the game starts, it doesn't matter if I'm higher rated. I go knight here to f3 after they play e6, the best move. They go bishop here to g4, b4. I was very confused during the game. I think I had like a reaction like, oh, like why didn't you just go bishop d6? Because that's what I was prepared for. I thought bishop d6, like, well, I just have to take, and I was expecting this, which actually I'm pretty sure ends up happening for the most part. And then go back here to d6, and now I take, and they take with the pawn. This intermezzo, I know there's a way you're supposed to do certain move orders, and there's some in more advanced grandmaster games I've seen, like watching tournaments, where they talk about you give a check for something first, but I couldn't figure out the logic here. Like I could go, if you're trying to stop me from going knight c3, I could still go there, or I can go knight d2, which still guards the square, which is the main point of knight c3 at this point in the game, and this just gives me what I want. I get a free initiative, I get to get the diamond formation, just to illustrate the difference. Let's say they were to go here, captures, and I want to go c3 to stop knight in, I would go c3 there. But you see in the game here, back, I already have c3, so I'll develop quickly. So it's a small difference, but it is a difference. As you see, I'm being quicker with my plans here versus having to make 2 moves to get this position. Like this would be here, except the knight wouldn't be there, and it would be black's turn here, and I would have gone there anyway. So it's just being quicker. They gave me a free initiative, but it's still 0-0s right now, so this is not where the issue provides. They go pawn, persists, I mean. They go e5. I think for a while here, and I go e4. Now, knight to g1. When I first thought this was the best move, I said, come on. Like, how was I supposed... I would have never played that. I don't know if grandmasters would play that. This seems like a ridiculous computer move. If you would have played it, let me know in the comments. I have no idea why that makes sense, honestly. I would never have played that. But I played e4. And my thought process with e4 was, okay, if whatever they take, it should be fine, and I should have a slight advantage after. Little did I know, I'm actually losing after pawn e4 with minus 0.21. But I thought this was going to be slightly better. I saw if takes, I think it was just knight captures. Yeah, knight captures, and they take, then take. And then I have these centralized knight, and they have an isolated pawn. And then, like, in the game, I think they end up doing that in the game, actually. But I think there's a different move order that I missed. Yeah, so they do dx e4. I capture, e5, yeah. I looked at e5 at the end, but I saw qg4, which is what I played in the game. And this is where the amazing line that I calculated that I didn't fully understand gets to show. So this is probably the best part of the video, if I'm being honest with you. It does get cool later. So white is winning here. Now when I play knight x d4, you maybe want to run and take the pawn. I'll show you the line I saw, then I'll show you the line that I looked at the engine after the game for. So this is what I saw. I saw queen captures pawn, right? What was next? I saw queen here, king f1, castles, and then what was next? I didn't see queen g4 check. I believe I saw, man, this was last week. I think I took the knight, the pawn, and then it's rook over. And what I missed here is you could take the knight. So what I saw was just queen here to h6, which is worse for black. Well, for white, I mean. So I was right. With the line that I looked at, I was actually losing. But I missed moves in this line that I was calculating. So if you take the pawn, as mentioned, queen here check, king f1. This is all stuff I saw. Castles. Qg4. I didn't see queen g4. And this is just completely winning because now you have equal material, but this pawn's about to fall. So their best move here, let's go to eval bar, rook d7. After I take the pawn, I'm just up material. I'm just completely up material, but I didn't see this move. And it's two moves I missed. I missed queen g4. I missed knight captures after they do that. So that was an unfortunate event. Let me just show the knight capture again. So take here, king f1, castles. Knight takes pawn. Since I didn't see qg4, I saw knight takes pawn. If they go over, I have knight captures. So I missed both of those ideas. Very cool, to be honest. I thought that was a very cool ideas. But I, as someone who's not an engine, I guess I saw most of it. I just didn't see the key idea, which was the main part. I just decided to take back with the knight. Now, part of me thought that you could take on g7 because I spent a long time on here, as you could imagine. I mean, I'm in the first 15 moves, and they have a pawn on their king side hanging. So I spent a long time on this, and I came to the conclusion that I'm sure g7 is better. I'm like 90% sure, but I don't see the moves. I'm like, I don't see it. But I know that just like my feel of the game, like it has to be. Like I don't have a very weak position. King f1, while it looks weak, it is very strong. It's defensive move, like getting behind these pawns, getting on the e file, and then I could even run to the corner. Like it's just so many ways that I'm protected. But ultimately, this is a rated tournament. Taking a risk like that and not knowing if it will work is not always what you want to do. So I take the pawn with the knight, which I assume will be equal, and it's exactly equal. And my thought process was, well, they still have a weakness here. I can castle, and they actually make a move soon that I was very surprised at. They castled. I really thought queen e7 was the move. Was that right? Yeah, it is the best move. I was so prepared for that. The reason I was is because you almost have to go king f1 still. Because say you go queen here, they can just take the knight. And then I'm assuming, I mean, even if whatever you do, if you take the queen or take the knight first, you're giving yourself an isolated pawn. So you can go back with the knight. And if they go here, you go back with the queen. I'm pretty sure it's a similar idea. Like you're getting an isolated pawn in the center, however you look at it. So king f1 is almost the best move. I don't know if it is the best. It's the second best move. The problem with this, if you're playing over the board, you don't really want to not castle. Like you could run to the corner. You are threatening this, but after they castle here, this is not something you'd want to play. Like obviously I have the evaluation bar now to see the best moves. But when I'm playing, I'm feeling some nerves in the tournament. Like I don't want to go into this type of game. So QE7 I thought would have been a much better move. I said I didn't want to go into it. This is the only thing I thought I could go into. It's considering I didn't see that. But they didn't play it. They castled. And I was like, oh. And that's the first time I thought that I can win this game. Funnily enough, I was like, if they didn't go for this queen e7 idea. And there's another move here where they go knight to b6, as you'll see. And they could have been aggressive. And I told them after the game as well that they probably should have went for that. But I castle here, get my king to safety. Knight here to e5. Queen goes here to f5. I spent a lot of time on this move. It's funny, the best move is qf4. I did not consider that. I was considering queen here to f5. And I think it was qf5 or qg3. Was that the second best move? It was. So those are the two moves I was deciding between. I didn't consider qf4 because I was trying to guard the knight from going to d3. That was my main idea. So the only way you can do that is diagonally or horizontally. So I was debating between those two. And I decided on qf5 mostly because I was still attacking this. I can get on the open file, and I just picked the wrong square. qg3 would have been better. I'm not sure exactly why qg3 is better, but it is. But I still have a slight advantage at this point in the game. They go knight here to c4, pawn to b3, and then knight back. This is when I was like, yeah, this is over for the most part. if they go knight here to d2, wait, is it knight d2? No, no, I think is it knight a3 or knight d2 that I saw. I think it was here. Yeah, because they can reroute here. I was so surprised they didn't go for this. And the reason I think it's such a great move, like I'm still winning, but over the board I was like, well, if they play this, the game is not very clear. So we have to move the rook because the knight's attacking it. If they centralize their knight attacking this weak pawn, so one they push, I get isolated pawn. So if I push, take. Oh, I guess they couldn't take. They would attack here, and then I just felt very uncomfortable while I was calculating this in the game. And I was very worried about knight there to d2, but they play knight b6. And the problem with knight b6 is not only that it doesn't take the aggressive approach going knight here to d2, it doesn't. The knight has no squares. You know that's the bigger issue. It's okay if you're not an aggressive player. I'm not the most aggressive player in this tournament. I actually have a few aggressive moments, but I in general am not the most aggressive. I'm very positional. But there are times where lack of aggression can be a detriment. It's not just a play style, it's making the wrong move. And the problem with knight b6 is it can't go to a4, right? It can't go to c4. So there's no forward progression. And also it can't go to d5 because the pawn there. So those are 3 forward moves the knight cannot make. If you go knight c8, do you really want to go back to the 8th rank? And then knight here, you lose a pawn. So there's just no good square. So if you weren't going to go knight there, I mean, maybe, I guess if this is the only other move. Let's see what the analysis says, because I feel like there are no good moves. Or just a check. Yeah, knight b6 plus 1. There's weren't that many good options. Knight d2, which is by far and away the best move they could have played. When they go knight to b6. It happens. I have some moves in this tournament that you'll see. Although it was 4 draws, I was winning in 2 of the games. I was +3 in 2 of those games. So I know I made some mistakes myself. So I understand. Sometimes it happens, but here, this is where I felt the confidence even more. So rook f to d1, the best move. Queen slides over. You cannot queen trade here. Like, you can't. Queen trading is just, you can't do that. The reason you can't, they have a bad knight. You want to take advantage of the fact that you have a good one and they have a bad one. If you queen trade and you allow them on the c file for free, you make their bad position okay. Like, you help them out. You let them off the hook, which I took that advice in some later games, but did not do it this game. I go queen f3, rook to d8, knight here to f5, queen 4, and rook e1. When they went queen to f to e6, which is funny, it's the best move, basically, second best move. I was like, oh, this is over. Oh, it's a cool tactic here. The only non-losing move is queen f6. I realized this over the board, and they took a while to figure it out, but they found it. I wonder if you guys can see why this is the only winning move. I know this is not like a short where I give time, but pause if you want to. And now I'm going to go it's like right now, basically. Just pause. I'm about to start it now. So the reason king f6 is the only winning move. Say you go queen here. I think it was, yeah, rook here, and then you can't take, and there's knight here. Or I guess if they go there, it's knight there, right? Then you're trying to sacrifice there. But then say you go, like, no other move works, no other. Here, there's a fork, right? We can go move by move. There's a fork there if they go over. That one's easier to see than some of the other ones. There also, same idea. There's just a fork, so you can't go there. What was the other move? I think, did we just go over qd7? Yeah, we went over qd7. You obviously can't go on the file. Oh, why you can't go here? Well, you can't go there, fork. And then the other idea, I think those are the only moves. And then obviously you can't go there. So if you can see, like, there's just nothing that works here, that they have to end up going qf6. So they found, like, oh man, that would have been a cool tactic to go for, but it couldn't work. The problem with going queen f6 is the best move, but it's still +2 for white, essentially, is because of knight here to e7. Oh, well, rook e7 as well. I played knight e7. I wanted to play rook e7 because I was like, there has to be another way to get this winning tactic that I saw. There simply was not. But knight here to e7 does do the job. It gives a check on the king. And the problem is, the king obviously has to move. And now they get this horrible pawn structure. They have double isolated pawns, isolated. The game is basically over. In a shorter time control, maybe I can't come back. I can't figure this out and convert. But with this much time, I mean, pretty much impossible. I don't think, it's just too much time for me not to win this game. This is just too bad of a structure. Mistakes could happen, obviously, but having no pawn connectivity, I didn't expect to win this quick in the next 7 moves. They make a mistake, as you see there, but that's part of chess. And their mistake wasn't even that bad. Like, it lost the game, so I guess in that sense it was bad. But as we get to it, you can see the logic behind it, where it's like, okay, like, they just missed a move in a calculation. Like, Everyone does that. I missed a few moves. This tournament, this game even, like at the beginning of the game, I didn't see it. But you'll see shortly. I thought long term my king would just be able to get in. Like they just cannot guard everything, and my pawns have no disconnectivity, no central pawns, but the 3 pawns on the 2 flanks are connected to each other still. I go knight here to f5, not even the best move, but when you create good position, you give yourself some grace. I don't have to play the best move every time at this point. Some of it is personal preference. Now, obviously, if I saw this, I would have played it, but I just mean by because I played good up to this point, I have some wiggle room in the moves I make. They go rook here to c8, rook a to c1, knight drops back, and then rook here to d1. This move here is very difficult to play against. If you look at the position, I guess the position is difficult. This is an inaccuracy. But like I don't really blame them. Like I don't know what I would have done either. If my pawns can't move. You cannot move 4 of your pieces, like 4 of your remaining, what is this, 9 pieces, or I'm sorry, 4 of your remaining 10 pieces can't be moved, right? You don't want to move your rook because there's a fork. Moving this rook, I guess you could have, which is the best move, but in general, you don't want to abandon your file because the rook can slide in there. You want to have your rooks connected, I guess, to go over there. So I know it's an inaccuracy. I feel like it's just very hard to play. But I go rook e to d1. They move their knight here to c5 and then knight back. I was like almost jumping like, wait, is this just winning a pawn? And it is. So I go knight here to e3, attacking the d5 pawn. If you can't see, it's undefendable. There's no way to guard this. There's a double attack, but no way to get a second defender. The rook is too slow. The knight directed to a pawn can't get to it in one turn, and the king is 2 moves away. And I have 2 attackers right now, and they can't push forward because of c3. So it's just a hanging pawn, and they would be down a pawn and still have this weakness here. It'd be different if they were down a pawn and this pawn was there. I wonder if it's still winning for white. I would think so, but it'd definitely be harder to win. But because the pawn structure is bad, they're just sitting ducks essentially, but it doesn't even get to that point. Knight here to e4, looking at the c3 pawn. I take the pawn, and here's the mistake, rook x d5. Now, rook c6, I calculated rook c5. He said he saw rook c6, or he said it won't rook c6 first. I didn't see that until the eval bar after the game, but I was looking, if they go rook c5, it's, it'll be a competitive game. I should win, but after rook capture, I was like, wait a second. So what they miss here, I take the rook back, obviously. Knight take. If, say, I were to, I don't know. Okay, so if I take the knight, this is back to, like, what are you really doing? Like, I'm still winning. Oh, it's only slightly winning. So you can't take the knight, right? If you move the rook here, they have knight here to, they're going to take the rook. So their thought was there's some way to win some material. But what I do is king f1. Now, the lead chess actually has rook. Oh, and yeah, you can't go rook d2 either because of here and then there. So, like, no matter what happens, there is a way for black to continue if you don't move the king. But I just go king f1, and they actually resign here is there's no place to put their piece that would result in winning. They actually, this is pretty much lost also. The knight's going to fall too. I'm going to eventually get there. I wonder if there was something that, could they have just gone up maybe? But then when I slide down, like I wonder what the best move is. All of them are losing for the most part. Rook c6 is the best. And then here, they have to move the knight out the way. And then once I took this, this is the end game. I thought they were going for this end game and try and play it out. But I think the problem is they just have too many weaknesses. And no connectivity means that their pawns are all fighting for themselves, and a rook I can slide over through the board so easily to attack one. If you protect it with the king of the knight, they can only stay on one side of the board for a time. I just go to the other side of the board. Like they're not connected and they're separated. It's not like they have an isolated pawn, isolated pawn, isolated pawn. There are so many holes in the position. So that's why they resigned there after king f1. They were a very good sport, and that was a very fun game. Honestly, it was a good way to start the tournament. Only win that I got, 4 draws, and I'll go through those as well soon later throughout the week. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you can enjoy my commentary. If you do enjoy, please subscribe, tune into my live, check out my shorts. Just support me all in all, and have a good day.